is the one I wrote in Tel Aviv. My wife bought me a ticket to Tel Aviv on my 40th birthday. And I went to Tel Aviv and started writing walls. And this one says, I miss you, Jew. I miss you in Poland, in all these little villages and big cities. You left a vacuum there, both in space and my heart. I just wanted you to know that. Polak. Polish guy. Polish. There's a funny story with this inscription. I met a guy from Israel. He was a radio reporter. And he told me that this inscription in Tel Aviv is actually getting famous, but nobody knows who did it. So there's an urban myth around it. And the people in Tel Aviv believe that this person who did it must have been a collaborator during the war, and now he's apologizing.
Where is it?
In Tel Aviv, in a coffee shop. It's called Carolina or something like that. It's outside of this souk, the thing of the market. Yeah. And I think this urban myth that went with this inscription in Tel Aviv that shows how mutually the trust is not really working. You know, the Jews are not really trustworthy of Poles, and vice versa. I suppose right now it's a very difficult thing to believe that somebody is actually meaning something good. You know, this one was the first one I did on the wall, and because I didn't have much experience with doing graffiti in public space, I got arrested immediately after I put the last. After I put the last drop, you know, there was a whole bunch of police guys, and they came, and they came 16 people with 2 cars, and they arrested me for graffiti making. They took me to the police station. It was in the middle of the night, of course. It's a horrible place, you know, to get there in the middle of the night. But anyway, this whole thing started to go with its own life. I was there, you know, in the arrest room. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, why did they take you away after you wrote it all down? Why didn't they take you
It's
away
a coincidence.
in the middle?
I just managed. I just barely managed to finish it, and then they were there. It's a coincidence. Anyway, you know, there's this gossip. There's this guy who wrote on walls that he hates Jews. You know, he's an anti-Semite. We have to. There's a paragraph for it. And then they send a specialist, a police specialist, to go there, examine it, you know, examine it on the wall. And he came back and he said, well, actually, you know, it doesn't really say it. He hates Jews. The problem is that he says that he actually likes them, you know, or misses them. So this got even bigger. And I had the, you know, after 2 hours of talking to the police guys, I had the guy, the main police, you know, guy from that station. He came down. He said, "What the fuck is this Jew lover?" You know. So he found me and he said, "Okay, listen, kid. If you like the Jews so much, why don't you fuck off to Israel?" You know. And I was like, "Okay. Well, I was guilty of being anti-Semite just a second ago, but now I'm guilty of liking Jews, which is just as bad, you know." So it's an interesting insight into how this whole thing works. Now, I've been asked a lot of questions because this project is very famous right now, and there's a lot of people talking about it. I've been asked a lot of questions like, who do you actually miss? Like who, right? Do you miss the whole nation? Is that possible? And my reply to this is simple. I miss one guy, and I know him by name. His name is and he's a, you know this guy. Yes, exactly. Because the whole project is driven by books, by actually trying to understand what I don't know. In 2005, I came across this book, and it's called The Confession, and it's been written by the Polish Jew born in Otwock, outside of Warsaw. His name is Stary Przychodnik. He owned a cinema, and then when the Germans came, there was the ghetto. He was a police officer in the ghetto, the Jewish police, and he moved to Warsaw. He was hiding in a closet for a year. And while he was hiding in the closet, he wrote that book. And I think it's a masterpiece of not only a reportage literature, but I think it's a masterpiece of Polish literature, basically. It's just a phenomenal, phenomenal book. And after reading that book, I realized that I've been taken away the chance to actually meet him, okay? Because he was killed in 1944 in Warsaw. You know, so my feeling of, sorry.
What does that say exactly?
It means I miss you, Jew. And I mean I miss you, całe Prachody. That's what I mean. To make this even more complicated, I took out an empty chair. I put a sheep, lamb skin on it. I put a kippah on it and started driving it around Poland. These are the first photographs I took in 2005. So I would put it outside in the street somewhere where the Jews would live before and where there's no trace of them whatsoever. I would put the chair out there, sit on it, and wait for something to happen and just make a photograph. And sooner or later, you know, in some time, I started getting attention. And there were more and more people coming to join me around that chair. So what I would do is I would call the local press or some local volunteers, and I would say, I will be coming to your town with the empty chair. Would you like to join me around it? And actually, the response is tremendous. I started to get more and more people to come and join me around that chair. This is Białystok, for example, which was a huge Jewish town. This is Katowice. That's a rabbi that lives in Warsaw. This is Warsaw University, and there's you might know it because that's where the 1968 riot started in Warsaw University, the anti-Semitic riot, so I applied to the University of Warsaw to allow me to come into their campus and make a photograph. And they replied, you cannot write anything on walls, that's for sure, because we just renovated our walls, so don't do that. But you can bring your chair and make a photograph, but please don't use the title. Don't say, I miss you, Jew. You can just say, I miss you, you know. And I was like, hold on. It doesn't make any sense because you know, I'm not a student who's missing his girlfriend. You know, it's a very you know, and this thing was picked up by the Polish press actually, and it was a huge scandal in Warsaw, and they apologized and you know, and they said, well, we're sorry, but that's a thing right there. They believe, well, my interpretation is, they believe that saying out loud, I miss you, Jew, you know, may offend someone, because maybe Jew is not such a nice word. And that's what this whole project is all about. It's bringing the word Jew into the Polish, you know, sphere, and just, you know, claiming this word back from anti-Semitism, you know. I don't want it to mean anything wrong. It's just another word. And I want it to sound positive again. And that's what they wanted to do in the university. They wanted to actually, you know, protect somebody from a bad sounding word.